Hey guys, welcome to the video. Today we are going to go over the Tomorrowland Music Festival 2022 lineup. I am going to Tomorrowland this year. I'm actually going to the first ever Tomorrowland back, so weekend one of the festival, because now it is 3 weekends instead of 2. And yeah, I'm really excited to go. And so of course I wanted to do a thorough review of this lineup. However, the way that they showcased all of these names is so inconvenient. Like, how could anybody read this? Of course, on their website, they do have it broken down for each weekend of the festival, for each day, but like you have to scroll to see all of the artists and what stage they're playing at. So nobody asked me to, but I took it upon myself to organize all of the artists, all of the DJs into a flyer for each weekend, broken up for the 3 days, so Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You can access these graphics on my social media, and I will link to where you can get those in the description of this video if you guys want to use it as well. So for this video, we aren't just going to go over the lineup, but we are going to go over all of the different stages so you can make the connection between the artist and what stage they'll be playing at and what it'll look like, with videos and pictures that I took when I went to Tomorrowland so you can see what they're really like. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Cotton Candy. I am a music festival content creator and vlogger. So I travel the world going to different music festivals to make vlogs, reviews, and helpful tip videos about all of them. I have been to Tomorrowland Music Festival, but of course I haven't been in years because the pandemic put a hold on all European events. So this year for 2020, it's actually going to be the first ever Tomorrowland back in 2 years. I will be going, so I'm super excited. Before we get into the details about the lineup, I do want to go over the general details about the festival for this year. So if you don't know, Tomorrowland Music Festival does take place in Boom, Belgium every year in July. It's usually 2 weekends long. However, after not happening for 2 years in a row, Tomorrowland is actually going to be 3 weekends this year. They added a 3rd weekend, and that's how I got tickets for this year. Well, actually, my friend Kat, she's the one who scored the tickets. And yeah, Europe just recently, like last week, lifted all of their COVID restrictions, allowing events and festivals to take place again. And so with all of these events being confirmed, I am actually probably going to go spend a whole month in Europe this summer so I can go to all of the festivals again. I do want to mention to you guys, if you're new to my channel, I do have tons of videos about Tomorrowland Music Festival. I will link to a playlist in the description. I have vlogs of the festival from when I went, as well as helpful tips and informational videos about the different types of tickets, camping, the different stages, all of that good stuff. So yeah, there are 2 ways that you can view the Tomorrowland Music Festival lineup. The first way is in this flyer that they created, which has all of the names for all of the artists and DJs that are playing all 3 weekends of the festival. Of course, there's going to be a lot of overlap, like a lot of DJs are playing all 3 weekends, but I just think it's really not helpful and kind of confusing because there's literally so many names, it's so hard to read. And of course, like as of right now, I'm only going to weekend 1, so I want to know who's playing on weekend 1. However, if you go to their website, you can view the lineup that is organized by the weekend, the day, and the stage that all of these artists are playing at. So this is a lot more helpful. It's just the only thing is that there's so many stages, so many names that you have to scroll and you can't just see it all in one place super easy. So I actually took the time to put this graphic together for all 3 weekends of the festival that just breaks out which artists, which DJs are playing each day for every weekend. So how you access this page, I will put the direct link to how you can view it in the description of this video as well. So what you do once you get to this lineup page is you can select whichever weekend you're going to, so weekend 1, 2, or 3. I'm personally going to weekend 1, so for the sake of this video, I'm actually just going to go over weekend 1 in detail because the lineup for weekends 2 and 3 are very similar, and of course all of the stages are the same. And then you can reference the Tomorrowland website for details about weekends 2 and 3. Before we dive deep into each day of the lineup organized by stage, I just want to do a quick review of all 14 stages at Tomorrowland so you have an idea of where all of these artists will be playing. There's usually 17 stages at Tomorrowland Music Festival, but this year there's only 14, including the Moose Bar, which I personally don't really think counts as a stage, to be honest, because it's really small. Smaller than the Harbor House or the Rave Cave or the Cage. It's just a really small area, but there will be DJs there, so I guess it does count. The main stage design is different every single year, and it's huge. The space it takes up is massive, and the design always is based based off of the theme for the year, and this year's Tomorrowland theme for 2022 is the reflection of love, so always excited to see the new creative designs they do every year. The other stages for Tomorrowland that you will see on the lineup is the Freedom Stage, which is inside of a building. This stage is always the same. It usually does have these LED bands that wrap around from the stage area all the way above your head on the ceiling, and it is a 2-story room, which is kind of cool. The Rose Garden is one of Tomorrowland's most famous stages. It is a dragon that actually moves and blows steam, and it's really cool. And then at night, its eyes light up and they glow red and green, and it's super cool. The Harbor House is one of the smaller stages at Tomorrowland, also on the water. The Rave Cave stage, besides the Moves Bar, is definitely the smallest of the festival though. But it's a cool idea. They set up a little stage underneath this bridge that's kind of like a cave. The Cage is another smaller stage. It is in a building, so it's just a dark room, but I really like the underground vibes. The Euphoria stage is like mushrooms, and there's also an area with shade that you can stand under. The Leaf stage is literally out in the water. Like, there's only 1 or 2 ways to get to this area. The Karasavi stage is like a cornucopia, and it's located in the middle of the festival. It used to be called the Tulip stage, I believe. The Core stage is a fun one. It's not easy to find, but once you get there, it's like this little forest area, and it has a really great vibe. The Atmosphere stage is like a tent structure with LED lights at the top. The Crystal Garden is a brand new stage that they're introducing this year. They did have this stage design in 2020, but they called it L'Orangerie, but I think it's gonna be exactly the same as that one in 2020. And then there's the Lotus stage, which is kind of like a small amphitheater setting. One of the stages that is missing this year is the Garden of Madness, which I personally always thought was a really cool stage, so kind of interesting that they don't have it this year, but I'm wondering what stage is going to be replacing it in this area. I guess I'll see. Okay, so I'm gonna go through the lineup on the website for weekend 1, starting with Friday. So the indoor stage, the Freedom stage, it says Eric Prydz will be presenting Hollow, which I think will be really cool to view at that stage with all of the LED screens that are there. I am so excited for the Rampage takeover at the Rose Garden, the Dragon stage. This is an all drum and bass lineup, and drum and bass is like my shit, so I'll definitely be checking out a lot of the sets here. However, I am also going to Rampage Open Air in Belgium 2 weekends before Tomorrowland. I'm sure I will see so many drum and bass artists, but yeah, like I said, I love it so much, so I will definitely be checking out the Rose Garden stage when it's hosted by Rampage. There aren't that many artists listed for the Cage stage, and it says there's more to be announced. It's honestly just crazy how many artists are going to be there this day and every day. Also excited for all the artists at the Euphoria stage, the Mushroom stage hosted by Pussy Lounge. I also love hard dance music, and this stage has a good variety of different types of hard dance music artists. Paul Elstak is like a legend. I've actually never seen Gecko and Bass Chasers. I saw for the first time there at Tomorrowland when they played in the Cage stage, but I actually haven't seen them since then. The Karasavi stage has 2 artists that I actually really want to see that I have never seen before. So Eli and Fur and Tin Liquor are 2 house duos that I absolutely am dying to see. They've been on my list for so long and I still haven't seen them. Charlotte Dewitt will be playing at the Atmosphere stage, and I know that she plays the main stage of a lot of events, but I really like the Atmosphere stage. I like how dark it is, and I think it really has a good atmosphere, pun intended, for techno sets. So I would love to catch her set there. More artists are going to be announced to play at the Core stage, which is like the little jungle stage, and I'm really intrigued by the fact that they haven't announced the lineup for this yet, because that is a really good stage, and there's usually a lot of really great artists that play there, so we'll have to see who they put there. The main stage, of course, is filled with so many good acts from all different kinds of genres. Rainer Zonfeld live. If I'm seeing at least one artist on the main stage on this first day on Friday, it would definitely be him. I haven't seen him yet, but I'm definitely planning on seeing him at Ultra Music Festival next month. Nevertheless, I bet his set is going to be amazing on the main stage at Tomorrowland, so I cannot miss it. But also the Major Lazer sound system sounds really cool, and of course Armin van Buuren will be amazing. The Afrojack back-to-back Rehab set will be amazing. I mean, as usual, all the main stage acts are going to be super legendary. Diplo's Higher Ground will be taking over the Crystal Garden stage, focusing on house artists of all different flavors. members. I think this is honestly a really good lineup. I would love to see John Summit, LPGOV, Side Piece, Vintage Culture, and of course Diplo. Like, I would love to see all of these artists here. It's a really good lineup at this stage for this day. The Lotus Stage for Friday day 1 is one that is very diverse, no specific genre. I do love Psytrance, so I would love to see Vinny Vici, whether it's this day at this stage or another stage another day. Okay, so heading over to weekend 1, day 2, which is Saturday the 16th of July. The Hard Dance Music event company Q Dance will be hosting the Freedom Stage, and I love hard dance music, so this lineup is honestly just amazing. I haven't seen like any of these artists since the pandemic started because like they just weren't playing US events and I just couldn't travel to European events, and so yeah, I missed out on seeing all of these DJs. So like I probably will spend a lot of time at this stage this day. Probably my number 1 is that I would love to see Cepha, who I haven't seen since like DEF CON 1 in 2019 before the pandemic. But I actually will be seeing a lot of these artists at Ultra Music Festival and EDC Las Vegas before I head to Tomorrowland. So Psy Gathering will be taking over the Euphoria stage, so the Mushroom stage. As mentioned, I do love Psytrance, so I would definitely love to see some of these artists. The last time I went to Tomorrowland, the Psytrance, drum and bass, and hard dance music stages were like my absolute favorite. Ooh, the Magician is playing at the Leaf stage, and I have always wanted to see him. I actually think I might have seen him at Tomorrowland one year, but I can't remember. So I would love to see him again if I did see him before. I've been to so many festivals, I've seen so many sets, I've been raving for over 10 years now, so like I lose track of all the artists I've seen because there's been so many. The main stage for day 2, weekend 1, has a really great lineup. Of course, Dimitri Vegas and Like Mike always play the main stage because Belgium is their home country, so Tomorrowland's always proud to showcase artists like them and Afrojack on their main stage, but of course they feature so many local artists at this event as well, small and big. I would be really interested to see the Daybreak session, which is Laid Back Luke presents Way Back Luke. So I'm not really sure exactly what it would be, but it kind of sounds like it'll be a throwback set. And I love Laid Back Luke. I loved his Ultra Music Festival live set from a couple years ago. It put him on like my must-see list for upcoming events, but then of course so many events got canceled and I haven't had the chance to see him since then. So this set at the main stage will definitely be on my must-see list for the weekend. Another stage host I'm really excited about is Netsky and Friends at the Crystal Garden. I love Netsky. Again, I love drum and bass, and he is one of my favorite artists of all time. He's basically incapable of making bad music. I did see him at the main stage of Tomorrowland the last time I was there, and he threw down. But also this lineup isn't strictly drum and bass. It's featuring artists that are very diverse in their style. One of them being Keizo, who is just like crazy when it comes to his sets. He plays a combination of trap and dubstep and drum and bass and hardstyle and hardcore and rock music, metal, emo music. Like his sets are just crazy. And so if you're European and you don't see Keizo that often, he is definitely a US artist you should check out because his sets are really fun. Of course, I have to see Netsky, and I'm really excited to see Sub Focus because I was supposed to see him at Ultra Music Festival and the lineup by day just came out and he's just suddenly not on the lineup anymore. So I don't know what happened there, but I'm super sad. I really wanted to see him, but at least I'll have the chance at this Tomorrowland. The lineup at the Lotus Stage has a lot of really great big room acts, including Nicky Romero, Rehab, Sick Individuals, and W&W. On to weekend 1, day 3 of the festival, which is Sunday the 17th of July. The Freedom Stage is going to have some really great house artists, including Medusa, Claptone, and Artbat. I would love to see Medusa there at the very least. The Rose Garden is apparently going to have a throwback set. They haven't listed any artists there, but 2010 to 2012 music will be played. The Cage Stage is going to be featuring some great, really hard dance music. The Euphoria Stage, which is going to be hosted by the label Monster Cat on this day, has a really great lineup. The thing is, a lot of them are US-based artists or artists that in general just tour in the US a lot. So the only artist on this list that I really want to see is Muzz, who is a drum and bass artist, and I just haven't gotten my fix of drum and bass since the pandemic started, since I've been confined to only going to events in the United States. All the other artists on this lineup I have seen a bunch of times in the past 2 years, but yeah, definitely if you're not from the US, a lot of these artists are really good, especially Sullivan King and Wooly have put on some of the best shows I've seen in the past 2 years. On the last day of weekend 1, Drum Code is hosting the Atmosphere Stage, so techno dedicated. Of course, Adam Beyer is going to be a really great act to check out, but personally Personally, I really want to see Joy Hauser. They've been on my list of artists to see for so long and I keep barely missing them. So probably at some point I will come out with like my top 10 to 15 artists I have to see when I go to Tomorrowland. Joy Hauser will definitely be on the list. The core stage is presenting Illum, and Macioplex will be playing there. I think that would be a really cool stage to see his set at. Generally, they do feature a lot of house, techno, tech house artists at this stage because it's just like the perfect vibe for house music and related genres. The main stage for this day especially I think is really great. I'm a huge fan of Martin Garrix and I saw him there at Tomorrowland on the main stage the last time I was there. Lost Frequencies is another Belgium native, and so they're always really proud to showcase artists that are from Belgium. I think that'll be a really good set. Nervo I think will also be really fun. Smash the House at the Lotus Stage is gonna have a lot of good big room house that day. And yeah, that's the Tomorrowland lineup for weekend 1 by day and by stage. Like I said, I'm not going to go over weekend 2 and 3 in detail like I did for weekend 1. There is a lot of similarities. Of course, a lot of the same artists are playing each weekend, a lot of the same stage hosts, and of course all of the stages that I showed you pictures of for weekend 1 are going to be the same for weekend 2 and weekend 3. As mentioned, if you want to see the graphics, the flyers I made where I broke down the lineup for each day of the festival for weekend 2 and 3, I will link to where you can get those on my social media in the description of this video. Really quick, I'll just show you the lineup for each day for weekend 2 and 3 and maybe point out some artists that I would have been really excited to see if I was going 2 and 3. Even though there's a lot of overlap, a lot of artists playing all 3 weekends, there are definitely some each weekend that are unique and I'll be sad about missing. So for example, Blastoise, a psytrance artist, I would love to see him. Saturday has a bunch of hard dance music artists that I would love to see again that I haven't seen. So like Miss Kate, Rebellion, Psychopunks, Randy, Rebellion, Refusion. Those are all hard dance music artists I haven't been able to see since I've lived in the US. But I am going to DEF CON 1 in the Netherlands a few weeks before Tomorrowland, so I will hopefully get to see all of these artists there at least. Also Dimension, I did see at EDC Orlando, but I love drum and bass, so I would love to see him. And White Noise. None of these are playing at weekend 1. Moving on to the summary of the weekend 3 artists, starting with Friday. Some of the artists that are not playing weekend 1 that I would be sad about missing out on. Probably Boris Brecha. I always hate pronouncing his name. Probably Boris. Some of the drum and bass artists like Fox Stevenson, Mackie G, and also the Sander Van Doorn presents Purple Haze. That sounds like it would be really interesting. Moving on to Saturday, day 2 of weekend 3. Some artists that are playing today that aren't playing the other weekends are Above and Beyond, but I've seen them a bunch of times. And again, hard dance music and drum and bass artists are probably the ones that I haven't seen since the pandemic started. So I would love to see Active Rage, Angerfist. Frequencers presents Wolves Are Back. Oh, and Neelix. Neelix has been on my must-see list for so long and I still haven't seen him. And then moving on to the final day, the last day on the 3rd weekend of Tomorrowland. Some artists that are not playing on the other days for the other weekend would be Darren Styles, who is one of my favorite DJs of all time. So yes, I'm sad I won't be seeing him at Tomorrowland, but I actually will be seeing him at Ultra Music Festival in Miami next month. And yeah, this was my deep dive into the Tomorrowland Music Festival 2022 lineup. There is so much to go over. I hope you found this video helpful or interesting at least. Like I mentioned continuously, I will be going weekend 1 of the festival, so you can expect vlogs of the first ever Tomorrowland Back weekend 1 to be posted shortly after the festival takes place. And as a reminder, I do have tons of videos about Tomorrowland Music Festival on my YouTube channel, including vlogs of the festival so you can see what it's really like, as well as helpful informational and tip videos about ticket prices, the different types of camping, all the different stages, and even the history about Tomorrowland. And then in addition to the vlogs, I actually will be coming out with more Tomorrowland videos before the festival, including a breakdown of the lineup by EDM genre. So I will do a video, for example, of the top house artists you should check out if you're going to Tomorrowland, the top hardstyle, the top drum and bass artists you should check out, things like that, as well as an updated, detailed festival guide for attending Tomorrowland, where we'll go over all of the information about the different types of tickets and camping. There their COVID guidelines, festival map, all the different stages and their locations inside the festival, and tips and advice if you're going for the first time. So yeah, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, definitely do so and hit the bell so you get notified when I post all of these awesome videos about Tomorrowland Music Festival to come this year. And yeah, I think that's it for this video. Thank you guys again for watching, and until next time, peace out, Rave Scouts.